Hi, and welcome back to How to Study Bootcamp. This is video number 6, which is all about how repetition, or what I like to call mental conditioning, can make a huge difference in the way you study for exams. So once again, let's head on over to the mind map. Okay, now we're almost at the end of the theory module, or the strategy, or the why of the study system. And I can almost hear a sigh of relief, because I know it's more interesting to get into the how, or the actual application of what we discussed in the videos so far. But in the next video, we'll start on the actual tactics model, the actual 6 steps. And I'll be explaining in detail how I combined all the strategy, or the theory, that we've been going through so far into 6 simple, very easy to follow and very logical steps. Which you can see here. Now these 6 steps allow you to process huge amounts of information very efficiently, and you won't be wasting half your time wondering where and how to start studying, which is what causes problems with a lot of students. They don't know where to start, they don't know how to start, and they end up procrastinating and sitting in the library and not getting anywhere. Now you won't be daydreaming in the library with this system, and you'll probably end up having more time to enjoy some sport or some fun things that you couldn't fit in before, because you were probably just telling yourself that you just didn't have time. So once you put these 6 steps into practice, I promise that every second you're studying will be 100% relevant to getting the best possible results in the exam. And as I've said in previous videos, no highlighting notes or passively rewriting textbooks, which have absolutely nothing to do with getting through your exams. So let's get this theory out of the way so we can get into the good stuff next week. Okay, let's start by defining what we call, or what we mean by repetition. Now, repetition is what we call practice or conditioning. And it gives us a way of mastering all the study skills you need to do well in exams. Now, in the physical world, practice or conditioning is how we become physically fit and a master of our chosen sport, whatever that is, whether it's football, basketball, tennis, whatever. In football or any physical sport, if you're not in condition, then you probably won't last the distance. And that's why you see people training and running and getting physically fit. They're conditioning themselves for whatever sport they're playing. In music, we condition ourselves or practice a piece until we can play it almost without thinking. That's conditioning as well. And let me ask you some questions. Would you expect to be a good tennis player, for example, without practicing or conditioning? And would you expect to become, say, a competitive gymnast without being in top physical shape? Well, obviously not. Then ask yourself, why do the majority of students expect to do well in exams without practice or conditioning? Just doesn't make sense. Now, what I'm about to say is extremely important, so pay close attention to this. Exams really test how well you've practiced doing exams. Now, I really need you to understand the importance of this statement. There's a huge difference between studying for exams and doing exams. And by doing exams or practicing exams, you'll actually be studying for exams. However, by studying for exams, you won't necessarily be good at exams. Now, if you can get your head around this, it'll make a huge difference to how you study and the results you get in exams. And the bottom line is, in exams, your level of knowledge is assessed. And although you may have the knowledge, if you can't reproduce it in the exam, then your assessment will be a reflection of your exam abilities and not your knowledge. Einstein was probably a good example of this. Even though he was a genius and probably one of the smartest people on the planet, he was really bad at exams, and in fact was considered a poor student, which it doesn't say a lot for exams, does it? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any other way to be good at something other than practice, practice, practice. And if you know another way, then just shoot me an email and let me know how, because as far as I know, that's the only way to be really good at something. So just to summarize the point I'm trying to make here, practice in sport is called physical conditioning, and it's a process in which you build up your physical strength, develop your physical reflexes, and increase your cardiovascular fitness. And all these factors will have a direct effect on your ability and success as a tennis player, for example. And in the same way, you have to condition yourself mentally for the sport of exams. And after you identify the skills required to tackle exams, you have to practice and develop them until you've mastered them. And this mental conditioning process will build up your mental strength by reducing fear and anxiety and increasing your confidence in exams. It'll develop your mental reflexes, and I'm talking here about the question-answer reflex that we discussed in earlier videos, and also increase your mental fitness by improving your performance in exams. Now, the majority of how to study books available don't show you how to practice all the skills involved in studying for exams. Most of them don't even tell you the skills involved in the first place. So what I'm trying to say here is that your study system should be comprised of a step-by-step technique involving the practice of those skills so you can become a mental athlete. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in the tactics module of boot camp, which will be starting next week. Now, just in closing, I came across this interesting little quote which I thought was relevant to what we're covering here. Not performing in exams up to your ability, choking under pressure, maybe your brain isn't in the game. So just something to think about. Now, I know you've probably been itching to get stuck into the actual steps of the study system, and I congratulate you for sticking with me so far. So that's the end of the boring theory or strategy module, and the next video will be all about the very first step in the process of combining all this theory into an easy to follow system that you can apply to any course or subject that involves exams. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.